Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Tally. The mission and the goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Tuesdays with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. And now your host, Brian Tally.
Welcome back to Tuesdays with Tally Podcast, where we add real life value to the lives of everyday people. Be sure to follow us on social media and on Spotify. The online information and handles are all located on the scrolling ticker at the bottom portion of your screen. We are on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Anchor FM, and Spotify. Simply search Tuesdays with Tally. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to get every episode and stay up to date with the latest and greatest our guests in this show has to offer. Folks, another milestone. We celebrate day 140 of this brand new podcast. And today we celebrate episode 96. 96 episodes in 140 days. Yes, like I always say, the obsession is real, folks. Now, before we get started with our tremendous guest today, I just want to connect with the business owners out there. If you have gear, if you have merchandise, t-shirts, hats, services that you want to provide to the general community, or perhaps an event that you want to advertise, connect with me today. Email me, thetallybill@gmail.com. That's thetallybill@gmail.com. Let's sit down, advertise your business right here. We could put a plan together. Let me help you reach your goals. Let's put a marketing plan together and develop a strategy to take your business to the next level. Now, folks, we have a very special guest joining us on today's program. Lisa Regina has worked as a professional actress and acting coach for the past 30 years. Lisa studied at New York University in the School of Educational Theater, including film production and screenwriting at NYU's School for the Performing Arts. Lisa has also taught at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. Lisa has always had a passion for mission-driven projects. In 2001, Lisa directed an educational film, Kenny, to raise awareness for a rare skin disease. Kenny would end up winning the Manhattan Global Film Festival and Humanitarian Award. As a survivor, Lisa founded a domestic violence nonprofit, 501c3, A Right to Heal Incorporated. Lisa has traveled across the country presenting her one-woman show, A Right to Heal. Lisa proudly presented as a keynote speaker for the YWCA in Washington, D.C., and internationally in Zurich, Switzerland at the Women's World Council. Lisa's advocacy work has a strong focus on raising awareness on issues surrounding trauma. She has a passion and love to serve our military community through her film productions, which include veterans as production crew, cast, and consultants. The camaraderie of vets on set has proven to be a positive healing experience for veterans in Lisa's film productions. Heroic Episodes in the Shades, an official selection of the CineQuest Film Festival and Berlin Liftoff. Over the last 5 years, Lisa has interviewed military men and women of all branches of service in all wars, providing a platform for all veterans to share their stories. Lisa's currently adapting those veterans' stories into a series called Heroic Episodes as an ongoing dramatic TV series based on true stories of trauma, survivors, and veterans. Lisa currently coaches actors via Zoom and continues to develop her humanitarian projects and writings with a focus on a universal message of hope and healing. With that, we are honored to be joined by Lisa Regina. How are you, ma'am?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me, Brian. This is amazing. And again, congratulations to you on your 2-year anniversary for the Tally Bill. I think your story is amazing. And as I said earlier, would love to adapt it to Heroic Episodes because it truly deserves to be shared with the masses.
Wow, thank you so much. That would be a tremendous opportunity. And I would definitely accept that offer for sure. I would love to sit down with you and be a member on that show or a guest. Yeah, that would be sincerely heartfelt. Yes. I'd be very grateful to do that with you.
Yes. Yes. I look forward to that.
And I do appreciate the congratulations, kind words. Yes, 2 years. It's been a wild ride, but now I'm doing a podcast and I'm sitting across from folks like you who, have been through their own cases of trauma and
Yes.
resilience and perseverance. And when that adversity came knocking on that door, you responded in a way that would make sense, to you and so many folks out there, to show that determination, that grit, and
Yes.
the path that you wanted to put yourself on for success. So again, the work you're doing is tremendous as well.
Thank you. That means so much. And that inspires me to continue it because, as you well know, it can be difficult and challenging. And, it really feels good to help others. Of course, you want to help yourself and have yourself as strong as possible so you can help others. And we are very like-minded in that way. So thanks again for having me. And I really look forward to heroic episodes coming to life. And I have good news, and I can't share it yet because we still have our first meeting on it, but it looks like it's gaining the traction. And as you know, it takes years to plant the seeds. And once they start to spring up and blossom, then you have to really, it's go time. You have to be ready, go time, and be well prepared to develop it to the next level.
Yes, heroic episodes. What a phenomenal idea you had there. And I love that. And hopefully we're going to get that all, advancing here very, very quickly here for you. And look, we got a new year coming up in just a couple of days. And I'm really looking forward to 2023. How about you?
I really am. And I feel the vibe of 2023, and it's a positive one. And I've been working on this because it all started with a dear friend, Barry Morgenstein. He's a top headshot photographer in New York City, a big veterans advocate. We've been very good friends since I worked on All My Children. That's really dating me. That goes way back. But Barry and I have been friends. He's like a brother to me. And he introduced me to Captain Leslie Nicole Smith, who is an Army veteran who lost her sight and her leg while serving in Bosnia. And Captain Smith is a Gary Sinise ambassador. She's very close to the Sinise Foundation. And what an amazing woman. He put me in touch with her. She wanted to take one of my acting workshops. And of course, I was thinking about the logistics of it. She's legally blind. I'm going to send her some material and have her come into the acting workshop. And I'm thinking to myself, how will she do this? And when she arrived in New York City at my workshop, I had about 25 actors there. And it was like silence. You could hear a pin drop. She made it to the front of the class with her service dog, Isaac. I put her on camera, and the first question I asked her, I said, Captain Smith, I just need to ask you this. Please excuse my ignorance. How do you know where to look? Because I need you to look into the camera lens. And she, big, broad smile, beautiful smile. She said, well, I can hear your voice, and I suppose you're right behind the camera. And I was like, yes, that makes sense, and everyone kind of chuckled, and she nailed it. She did this commercial. It was amazing. And since that time, this is going back, almost 10 years, between 8 and 10 years. We've been friends. We've been in contact. And I cast her in one of my short films, The Shooter's Nail, which was basically about wheelchair basketball, veterans playing basketball, overcoming their physical challenges, and a very inspiring short film. And I cast her as a counselor because she has such a warmth about her, and she makes you feel so comfortable, and she's so positive. And again, being on set, she was at home. She was amazing. After filming, it must have been about 14 hours, Brian. I had her hotel room ready, her dinner ready. Like I was all kind of doting over her, and she looked at me and she said, Lisa, you don't have to fuss over me. I served in the Army. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You're used to much more challenging conditions than being on a film set. But at the end of 14 hours, Brian, to the point, what inspired the Veterans Film Apprenticeship was what Leslie said to me. She held my hand and she said, I haven't felt this camaraderie since I served. And I still get emotional to this day remembering that. And she said, I'm going back home. I said, by the time you get home, it's 14 hours. You're going to get home like 4 a.m. And she said, that's okay. I'm on fire. I'm so inspired. I can't sleep. And she got on the train from New York, went back to Virginia that same night. And that experience is what really inspired the Veterans Film Apprenticeship. Because as a filmmaker, I thought, wow, if she felt that way, I wonder if other veterans would feel the same way being on a film set. And I had to explore that further because it moved me so much. And I shot another short film, and that one was titled The Shades. And I cast veterans as consultants, as crew, as actors. And again, it was the same response. You know, I had Vietnam veterans on set, just all branches of service, all wars. I had about 40 warrior watch riders from the post in Summers Point, New Jersey. They came out for this really powerful scene that we did with women who have survived domestic violence. They were at the front of the scene, and then the veterans came behind them as this protective shield on their motorcycle, and standing there, we were crying. We're looking at the monitor. It was such an impactful moment. My DP, my director of photography, Till Newman, and I just, you know, tears in our eyes. And he's like, come on, Lisa, we have to get this shot, you know, let's move it along. But that experience again proved that the veterans felt the camaraderie, the mission. I felt as a director so safe because I was concerned about all the cars, from the background actors, the crew. We're all put into this farm, Pilesgrove, New Jersey. And I was concerned maybe about a car coming over the crest of the hill and someone being there, you know, in line waiting to get in. And they controlled that traffic. They made me feel safe. They made everyone on set feel safe. And that gave me the opportunity to direct the film because I didn't want to have to worry about everything that was going on behind the scenes. So it for both sides, the veterans as well as us, the filmmakers, it proved to be a perfect match. And you know, the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, this needs to be a program. This needs to be a program that we started in the state of New Jersey because that's where I'm doing all my filming. That's where I'm a native of South Jersey. We have the tax incentive now from the Film Commission. It all makes sense that it should start here and have New Jersey be that role model state. And I expanded it into drone training because, as you know, like drones are a big part of cinematography, and some of those shots are just really epic. You know, when you get that aerial shot from a drone. I am a drone pilot, a Part 107 pilot, and I decided, wow, that could be a good way to transition veterans into the film industry, but also the aviation industry. Helping them go through drone training, helping them obtain their drone Part 107 commercial license, and then placing them either in my production or maybe in another area of aviation because it's such a fast rising industry. There's so many job opportunities. And it makes sense that the skill set that you have as veterans would translate well to not just drone piloting, but also filmmaking, that camaraderie. So that's where it kind of started, and that's where it is now. I'm just putting my first veteran. He's an Air Force veteran. His name is Frank Sean Johnson. He's from Philadelphia. And he served in the Gulf War. He came back to Philadelphia. He was fortunate not to have any injuries. he served in Desert Storm, I'm sorry. And he was fortunate not to have any injuries. And then while in Philadelphia, there was an altercation in his neighborhood. He was shot in the back by some teens, and he was paralyzed and told he would never walk again. And as a result, he lost his leg. Since then, he's been walking with a prosthetic, but it is sometimes extremely painful for him. And I had cast him in one of my films, and I thought of him and I thought, wow, Sean would be a perfect candidate for this drone training. And I called him and I said, look, you would be my first veteran. Are you interested? I would put you through drone training. You would take the test, achieve that Part 107 commercial license, and then have an opportunity to explore different areas, maybe filmmaking, maybe it might be search and rescue, or some other related field that uses drones. And he was very excited about it. So he's going through his training right now. And I just texted him last night. He said, yep, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to move on the test. He said, I'm a little nervous. I said, that's natural because it is a lot of information on the test, but like, you got this, let's do it,
Mm-hmm.
So
I want to jump in here. That is, first off, I'm very sorry to hear about your friend. A guy that's, that served in combat and survives combat and then comes back home and gets shot and nearly killed in his own community. So that right there is, you hear a lot about that, unfortunately. And that, that's something that, that's another podcast. And that's something that definitely needs to be addressed with how, unsafe our streets in America have become. But, you are not a veteran, right? But you are a champion, a tremendous champion in the veteran in military community. Now, you connect well with veterans because you have suffered some trauma on your own. And what I'd like to know is, what lit that fire under you? What really inspired you to engage in the veteran community, to sit down and begin something new, to begin telling their stories? I mean, you are you've been an actress for 30 years. There's so much that you're involved in. Why the veteran community?
Well, that experience with Captain Smith really inspired me. And it made me think about something that I never thought of. Most civilians that have never served in the military, it's far removed from your life. You don't think about it. It's not part of your life unless you have a military family or a friend that you've either lost or who has served, and you're closer to it. But that experience with Captain Smith inspired me. And then surviving my assault, April 2nd, 2005, I was assaulted by my then fiance, and that was 2 months away from my wedding. So the wedding was set, everything was set. He always had a very cantankerous, behavior, attitude, but I never thought it would escalate to physical violence, which it did. I'm grateful to be alive. I went through, a fractured pelvis, concussion, contusions. I was thrown from a vehicle into the street in New York City. I'm lucky to be alive. If my assault happened maybe in the privacy of our home, I might not be here, So it's kind of good that it happened out in the public because, witnesses and people see things happening. That survival for me was, a turning point in my life. As you said, it chose you. I didn't choose it. It chose, I survived PTSD. I was so severe with PTSD when they released me from the hospital with a bag of pills. They were just really getting me out of there because my assault was highly publicized and the paparazzi was in the hospital and it was a circus that they just wanted out. So along with the pills and me, they stuck me in a cab and sent me home while I was still in a state of PTSD, as a state of shock. Thank God I had good friends that came up to the city that rescued me, my family, because I wouldn't be here. I was never a pill popper. I was never a drug addict. I never had any issues, but I could see where that incident and my assault and my state of mind, I could have easily OD'd. I could have easily became a drug addict, a pill popper from that, because you just want the pain to stop. The emotional and physical pain that I survived, to your question, I believe it's made me more caring and sensitive of others, and especially veterans dealing with PTSD and overcoming anything traumatic, whether it's service or a physical injury, losing a limb. I mean, these are situations that we can't relate to unless we've been through it, or unless we know someone very close to us. That part of my survival, I really relate to. And my first interview with a Vietnam veteran, he looked right at me and, what the F do you know about Nam? And I was like, well, sir, nothing. Really, I was 8 or 9 years old when Vietnam took place. I remember my sister during that time, and her friends, her boyfriend went to Nam, but that's all I really know of it. But then when I shared with this Vietnam veteran my story of my assault, my survival, what happened to me, how I, was able to come out on the other side and survive, that's when he grabbed my hand and said, okay, let's talk. And he shared his story. So all of a sudden that great divide between civilian and veteran is right here. And now all of a sudden we're bonding. So for me, that human experience is what inspires me, because I know that I can help so many just by sharing my story, and then using my art form, acting, writing, filmmaking, to bring these stories to life. And what I've learned from interviewing veterans over 8 years of all branches of service, all wars, is the family dynamic and those relationships, and what it's like when you come home. And to me, that is such a crucial part of it, because I know in my situation, that's who I relied on to survive. My friends at my back, my family. And that's such a huge part of not feeling alienated, and then being able to take the next step to survive. So I just see the commonality there. And as an artist, I feel a great responsibility to do something, and like I said, I go back to Captain Smith, to Leslie and her service dog, and I go, wow, I made a dear friend. I learned a lot. I became a better person from it. And I became a better artist, because now I have something that's really meaningful, and a purpose and a mission for myself.
Sure. Yeah, you feel as if it's your duty, to get in there and to get involved and share your, story of trauma and perseverance and resilience to other people who have been through similar situations. Or, trauma's trauma. We all go through trauma. Every single day on the streets of America and the world, whatever. Everybody is faced with some sort of trauma, some more, some less. Some, if they haven't experienced it, stand by, you will. Adversity will come a knocking, and when it does, we're never prepared for it. Sure. But again, it's how you will be defined ultimately on how you respond to that action that happened, or to that specific trauma. Now, do you believe that day that you were thrown out of that car, something changed in you and kind of put you on a different career path?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Like just, I was, in my industry, it's all about that sensationalized story, of course. And they wanted the media focused on who he was, because he was on a TV series, and they wanted to focus on that. And the opportunities that were put in front of me let's just say they went against my grain, my moral grain. And it didn't feel right. The kind of stuff that I was propositioned to do, the kind of exploiting that part of it. And I was like, no, this is about violence, domestic violence specifically. It's about healing. It's about, let's educate, let's raise awareness. And I had one producer say, yeah, I used to be a purist too, but now I'm a reality show producer and I'm effing rich, and I'm like, well, good for you. If you shave that face every morning. That was my response, So I've always been a little bit, I guess, you know, sassy, feisty, whatever you want to call me, but just truthful. That producer was propositioning something that like went against my grain. I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to do something educational. I want to raise awareness. I want to speak out. I want to have a positive impact on others. So, yes, Brian, it definitely changed my career path, and I'm proud that it did. And I feel I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed to talk about it. Especially since I've learned that it has helped others, I have a woman that was part of my Right to Heal, which started as a writing group, grassroots writing group in my apartment in New York City, who I helped her to survive her situation. And every birthday, every Christmas, she sends me a card saying, you saved my life. And I send her a message back saying, you were ready, and I just assisted and guided you. And I'm so happy that I was there to do so. So yes, I feel that this is what I'm meant to do. And it feels good. I mean, I'm doing the work that I believe God wants me to do in short,
Now, I'm a very extremely blessed man. I've been married 25 years. I've got 4 beautiful kids. And at times in life, I'll admit it, I am naive about a lot of things out there. I know what's going on, I guess, but I just really can't believe it at times because of the relationship and the type of person that I am with my family and others that I engage with and stuff like that. Just with, good life skills and, and integrity and honor and, and representing your family name in the way that, that you would be proud for someone to carry that on. And do we really have a big major problem in this country when it comes to domestic violence?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, the statistics used to say every 8 seconds a woman is, assaulted, or I think it was every 8 to 10 seconds, every 8 seconds, whatever. It's too much. Yeah, there is a big issue. And especially since the pandemic, those numbers have soared because, we're in lockdown. We're in the situation that you don't have the freedom that you had. Yeah, it is a big issue and it still has a stigma, attached to it. I've met women who, have come up to me after a speaking engagement and they'll say, Lisa, thank you for being brave to share your story. I never told anyone I was raped 40 years ago. And all of a sudden, here's this mature woman telling me something that she's never shared with anyone. And to carry that's such a weight to carry your entire life. And of course, I'm glad that woman felt secure enough with me to share, but it made me sad to think that she carried that for 40 years, So there is a stigma attached to it. And, I think also with veterans, there's stigmas, people don't understand. They think, oh, can I hire that veteran? Are they going to be, of sound mind or stable or can they handle, it's ridiculous, the type of judgments that are out there. But domestic violence is a huge thing. And I've also had my veterans tell me the situations with domestic violence within the military. That just was mind blowing, assault, on women or rape, so that, yeah, it exists in the backdrop may change, but the issues still exist.
Yeah. I know it exists, but again, I don't see it, firsthand. Of course, I come from a healthy household. And again, I'm very blessed, to say that, 'cause there's not a lot of guys out there that can these days. There's a lot of
Yeah.
broken homes. There's a lot of broken relationships. There's a lot of people that are hurting. But
Yes.
you are a strong woman, and you're very easy to talk to. And not only strong, but you are a woman of success.
Thank
You are a go-getter. You are a doer. So when people are going through their daily life struggles, they look to you for that source of leadership. And you are a light. You are a beacon of hope to so many out there,
Thank you.
that may be going through, again, their own life struggles. Now, what you're doing in the veteran community is very unique. You have created the Veterans Film Apprenticeship, and you're working hand in hand with veterans, teaching them something that is very, very cool, that a lot of veterans would probably love to be a part of, making movies and making films. Let's face it, we all think that's cool, right? Hollywood and the lights and the acting and the sets and all that stuff, and giving veterans an opportunity to engage in something that's far greater than themselves. Again, like you said, the camaraderie. You're not a veteran, but you connect very well with them because you care about their psyche and where they're going in life. And you want to be there as someone that's going to say, hey, I want to hire a vet. Not only do I want to hire a vet, but let's make an actor or an actress or a director or a producer or a drone pilot. Today, everybody loves photography because we all have one in our, we all carry, this is a camera, right? Because that's, so these have created so many photographers. Like I said, it's a camera and I just happen to have a phone in it, right? So what you're doing is you're opening the eyes of so many out there. And again, it's a vulnerable and at-risk community. But when you can bring a job, a livelihood, and create, new careers for people that felt like maybe that they were left out, on the street. No one cared about them, feeling hopeless and helpless, could be going through some own trauma of their own. That's where you come in and say, I've been in your shoes. Let's sit down. Let's have a conversation and let's get back on track. Let's put that train back on track. Now, tell me a little bit about the Veterans Film Apprenticeship and what inspired you, what really inspired you to start this program.
Always Captain Leslie Nicole Smith, Gary Sinise ambassador and Army veteran, she inspired me. And of course, along the way, she was the spark, along the way that just grew and grew the more I met veterans. And Frank Sean Johnson, my Air Force veteran, when I cast him in my short film, there was a scene where he's putting on his prosthetic and he's sitting out in front of this barn. It's a beautiful shot of him, very silent. He's not saying anything, but all the emotion and the nuances in his face speaks volumes. So every veteran that I've met inspires me to build the Veterans Film Apprenticeship, because I talk to them through the interviews. I learn about their families, their life in service, their life returning home. And I see a big need for this job training apprenticeship that is a new path that uses the skill set that they've used in the military. I mean, to be able to evaluate a situation calmly, when a problem arises on a film set and you can't lose your mind over it. You got to remain calm, cool. Okay, this is the issue. How are we going to fix it? Let's get to it now. Boom, boom, boom. Make it happen. Not get, not break down, because the whole production is a team and you have a mission, and you might be shooting in 98 degrees, humidity, sweating your, butts off, or you might be freezing, or the conditions have an impact on your productivity. So you need a strong team, and you're running against time and losing light and just so many issues that can arise in production. So veterans have that skill set. And it's just such a perfect match, a perfect fit. And you know, Brian, in my mind, I'm like, why haven't we done this years ago? Like, why? You know, and it makes total sense. I have proof of concept that it works. And there are other filmmakers that feel the same way. Barry Morgenstein, again, just introduced me to Christopher Martini, great filmmaker. He has a film out. The title is Trooper, big veterans advocate. He and we talked, you know, for a couple hours about how in filmmaking, he has veterans on his team. He said, it's seamless. It's amazing how, you know, it runs like a smooth machine. It makes sense. I mean, that's what you were trained to do. Here's the mission. How are we going to do it? Here's my team. Let's, you know, I just, I'm so excited about it because I see it. I always look ahead to the big vision. You know, I had someone tell me as a young lady in my beginning career as an actress, as a filmmaker, they said, Lisa, you dream too big. And yeah, really. And, you know, I just looked at them and said, well, that's crazy. You know, why not? As long as I'm alive, as long as I have the passion for it, you have to dream big to get the big results. Like, that's the only way I know, you know? And I see the big vision as this Veterans Film Apprenticeship. The state of New Jersey is going to be my role model state, and we're going to implement it. And then we're going to show how this model can work across the country, across the globe, if you want to go that big. I mean, it can work. And why not give back to our veterans and help them transition into new job opportunities where they can still use their training, their skill set, their mission, their passion, and be fulfilled and have a better quality of life. I mean, it just makes total sense, you know. As far as filmmaking and aviation goes, there are so many jobs, like, you know, someone that's transitioning from the Air Force to a drone commercial pilot on a film set. I would think they would be happy because they're in that environment of camaraderie, mission, team. They're making a film that they believe in, and, you know, they're able to fly the drone to get those cinematic shots. And then when the mission is done, in filmmaking, there's a lot more celebration. I mean, you know, because you're sitting in the screening room with your teammates and your team, and you're watching the end result of your efforts. There's nothing that feels, you know, that rewarding. So I think that sense of pride is also something that, you know, veterans would also enjoy. It's a big mission. I know it is. I mean, I've been self-financing it. You know, Frank Sean Johnson, my Air Force vet, I'm self-financing him because, you know, I can't let money stop me from bringing a vision to life, because if I can accomplish this with Frank Sean Johnson, then here's my proof of concept. Okay, one veteran, put him through training. He got his commercial drone license. He has a job now. He loves cinematography. So for him, filmmaking is a perfect match. But also, Brian, what's really important about his story is because his prosthetic can be painful and uncomfortable sometimes, he uses his chair. He's concerned about work. He can fly a drone from his chair if he has to. So for Frank, that has been a great sense of comfort, knowing that I don't know what's going to happen with my leg, my prosthetic, if I'm going to be able to continue to use this. If I'm bound to my chair, at least I have a job, and it's something I enjoy doing, and I still have a sense of freedom flying that drone, you know. So to me, that made me very happy to hear from him share his concerns and his fears of the future, and how it could provide him with a job like that. And ironically, this is crazy, his story about coming home from service, not being injured, being a healthy veteran, transitioning home, and then getting shot in the back and being paralyzed for 2 years until he was able to go through surgery, lose his leg, and then use a prosthetic. That story parallels the premise of heroic episodes, because my pilot episode starts with a veteran returning home who has to surrender his leg, and he has to go through an amputation. And Frank Sean Johnson's story just happens to parallel the message of the pilot episode. And when this veteran in the pilot episode returns home, he meets a teenager that's being bullied, and gang members in the community are roughing him up. And he kind of saves this young teen and becomes his mentor. So life imitates art, art imitates life. It's all falling into place. And
now your Veterans Film Apprenticeship, gives veterans a chance to heal and assimilate back into civilian life through the job training apprenticeship. How many veterans have gone through your program?
Sean's the first. Frank Sean Johnson is the first.
So this is a brand new.
It's brand new. Yeah. And that's why I said to you, it's hard for me to believe that no one had ever figured this out, that let's make it a program. Let's make it a program that exists, that can actually help not just one veteran, but 100,000 veterans, or more. Let's continue to build on this. So yes, it's a brand new apprenticeship.
So who are your preferred, say, veterans? Who exactly are you looking for? Who's your target veteran, and how can they connect with you if they want to be a part of this apprenticeship?
I think the veterans that are perfect candidates for the apprenticeship are any veterans who are, number one, feeling alienated and alone, that are feeling that their mission is over and they're just alone with their feelings and with their thoughts, and that want to be part of a team. Also, any veteran who is transitioning home, who is struggling financially, that needs job opportunities, training, a new path. Maybe they never thought of drone training, becoming a drone, a Part 107 commercial drone pilot. Maybe it's something they never thought of because they don't know enough about it. But when you look up the drone industry, it's amazing how drones are being used in search and rescue, cinematography for filmmaking, of course, real estate, inspecting power lines. It's agricultural use. It's boundless, the amount of jobs. And these are decent paying jobs. So I think any veteran who's feeling like, okay, now what do I do now? I need a new mission. I need a job. I'd like to be able to use my mindset, my skill set. I am a veteran. How can I apply that to something here at home? And also something they enjoy. I mean, you got to have a little fun. You don't want to, you want to have enjoyment. So I think that quality of life, just in something that's going to help them on all those levels, emotionally, physically, financially.
I mean, it's a great business model. It's a great business plan there. It's very unique. It gives veterans an opportunity to, again, to reconnect with the team, have that sense of camaraderie. The team building aspect, I think, is so important, because so many veterans self-isolate. They go through a lot of issues in life, not all, but, a lot. We do have, anywhere between 22 to say 40 veterans every single day in this country that are taking their own lives. With programs like this that you are just starting to take off here, ground floor operation, if you will, to repurpose these veterans, to recreate and to reinvent who they will become in this new walk of life, if they will. Now, you are based in New Jersey. Say someone's watching this and they live in Denver, Colorado. How can they participate in what you're doing in your mission?
That's a good question. I think at this level, because it's so new, full transparency, I'm asking, and I'm putting out a call to action and asking veterans to just support me. They can go on my website, righttoheal.org, which is my 501c3 nonprofit. LisaRegina.com. I'm easy to find. maybe someone that lives in Colorado or a state out west or anywhere that is not in the state of New Jersey. Maybe they have a story they want to share. They can also submit their story. We're not filming yet, but I've been collecting stories. I have emails that pour in with Gold Star mothers and Gold Star families that are sharing stories. Also, veterans that just learned about, they might have seen my short film and they reach out. So I think sharing stories, showing support is really important right now. As you well know, fundraising is the biggest thing, for a filmmaker. I have a couple things that are coming up in the new year that are very promising. I can't talk about them yet because, it just came up, but I think that the support is what I need, the support and understanding that, no, I'm not a veteran. However, my father served in the Army. He never spoke about it. And I know that's a common thing with the older, parents and grandparents didn't really share in detail too much. But I think just the idea that we can bond over something, actor Joe Mantegna recently did a beautiful testimonial for me when he heard about the Veterans Film Apprenticeship. He, as most people know, is very supportive of the Gary Sinise. He's close to Gary Sinise and the foundation. And he's an amazing veterans advocate. And the testimonial, when he heard about this, he was like, this is perfect because you're combining the filmmaking world and veterans. And it makes sense that the military mindset would translate well to the film set. So we are gaining traction. We do have support from people like that. And there's no doubt in my mind that it will continue to grow. So I would say, like anything else, like you went through it with the tally bill, it's a heavy weight to carry alone. The more support you get, the more traction it moves it up the mountain, so that support is extremely important.
Love it. Folks, we're being joined by Lisa Regina out of New Jersey. Now, Lisa has worked as a professional actress and acting coach for the last 30 years, and she's also a humanitarian, and she has devoted years to educating communities on sensitive subject matters such as bullying and domestic violence. And she is a part of so many different veteran causes and initiatives now. Currently, she is writing a series, Heroic Episodes, and she's created the Veterans Film Apprenticeship. The Veterans Film Apprenticeship gives veterans a chance to heal and assimilate back into the civilian life. And that right there is what it's all about. And a part of this program is doing the drone testing and getting their license to be a Part 107 commercial drone pilot to help in the cinematography of making films, movies, or just using that skill to really do anything. The eyes in the sky is where we're headed with this new innovation and the world that we are living in. And why not be a part of something great? That's a ground floor type operation. You can support Lisa Regina today. She's very accessible online. Just Google her. Lisa Regina, Regina, and support her mission today by going to her website, lisaregina.com. Now, you are a very interesting woman here. I'm learning so much about you. You have so much to offer, and you were mentioning guys like Barry and Christopher, yes. Honorable man. I mean, I can only imagine if you have those guys on your team, you can accomplish anything. And they're from your area up there too in New York, right?
Yes, New York, New Jersey. Yes. I think when like-minded individuals come together, you can accomplish great things. And, building a team of people that really care about our veterans, that care about healing from trauma. I mean, there's so much violence, you watch the news and you just scratch your head, like, how can this be happening? And, instead of just ignoring it, what can I do about it? And again, if you could just envision a series similar, Law and Order has been one of the longest running TV series. And that's because those stories are based on true stories of crime, right? And that has transcended generations, Law and Order. So if you can imagine a series that will transcend generations because it's based on veterans' stories. There's so many stories. It's broad, it's vast. There are stories that are inspirational and very heroic and are, happy, and there are stories that are extremely painful. And that as an episodic is what I envision. And then behind the scenes, as we're shooting this series, veterans are crew, consultants, cast members. They are part of the process. To me, that's something I want to see in place so that when I leave this planet, I could say, okay, it's running, it's on its way. It's provided job opportunity and training for veterans, and it's going to be running for generations to come.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I envision, and I believe in that vision. And I know a lot of veterans also do, because I've been sharing this for over 8 years with them. Captain Smith has been extremely supportive. She's done fundraisers with me. She's been a friend. I mean, we've done radio interviews together, and she loves it, and she really believes in it, as well as other veterans. And it's just, getting that message out, when other people see it and they go, yeah, I see that. That could be something that can grow and continue to grow and be here for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, as whatever it takes to continue to live beyond my time here.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly have a legacy right now. And that legacy you're just building on right now with the Veterans Film Apprenticeship, which is a phenomenal idea. And I think, and I sincerely, truly believe in this. And that's why you're here. Again, it's the uniqueness about the opportunities that can be afforded to veterans that may not have even thought about that.
Right.
And that's what this podcast is about. It's about educating and inspiring others to live the life that they were intended to live. And sometimes it takes something like this to open their eyes and say, wow, that's a light bulb. That would be kind of a cool job. And pretty much I could use it anywhere.
Yes.
Like, with what you said, power lines, real estate, movies,
yeah. I mean, the drone industry. Yeah.
I mean, doing all of that stuff. And, like you said, there are so many stories out there that are deserving of being told. And there's so many, there's not enough people telling these stories, of hope and of perseverance and resilience and never quitting and, having the deck completely stacked against you and not having that lifeline there to tell a story in a genuine and a sincere way that will honor that person, and their story.
And speaking of honoring, Brian, you just reminded me, after each episode, we will honor whoever that story was, whatever veteran that episode was about. We will honor them with, video picture of them, and just kind of make sure that we mention that, okay, this episode was based on this veteran's story of survival, or a fallen soldier as well.
Connect with Lisa Regina today on her website, lisaregina.com. This woman is a tremendous asset and a tremendous champion in the veteran community. And if you guys don't know about her, go online today, Google her, reach out. She's very approachable. She's very friendly. And folks, if even if you're going through some hard times, you want to run something by her, you want to lean on her a little bit, feel free. She's a very, very, very genuine and sincere woman. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the program
Thank
today.
you.
And you have so much to offer, and I know this program is going to be great, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. And I'm really appreciative of you having me here and allowing me to share this, with your community and your audience. So thank you, Brian. And again, amazing what you've been able to accomplish. You inspire me to keep going.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. That's what keeps me going. 140 days ago or 135 days ago, God put this podcast on my heart. And again, all I want to do is get the word out about what people are doing, all the incredible that people are doing out there, because, things like what you're doing right now, they matter. When it all boils down to things, it's about saving lives and improving the life of people. That's the humanitarian, in you. And we all deserve a happy, joyous quality of life. And that's what makes our country and our world a great place. But, we're going through some hard times. There's some dark days, but, the dark, you got to know the dark to appreciate the light. And when you come out, we all kind of bloom in that flower of adversity, if you will. But, again, we sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the military and veteran community. The work you're doing is truly admirable.
Thank you. And I'll keep you updated on the news for 2023. I'll keep you updated on that.
Please do. And let's stay connected for sure. Yes. So until next time, for Tuesdays with Tally, this is Brian Tally. Good night. Semper Fi. And